Okay guys, that time of the week again. We're going to update the Vanguard and then I'm going to have a bit chat about funds and which is best, accumulation or payment. You know, do you want dividends each month? We'll discuss the pros and cons of that. So first of all, let's have a quick look, see where we were this time last week. Now, this represents my trading funds, which you'll see from the other account. I put my surplus money in here and just let it grow naturally. That's the beauty of investing. Now, on the 18th of April, and we're currently on the 24th, because I kind of do it each Friday or Saturday, it was standing at 188,153. Pretty good, isn't it? I can go with that. And from the week prior, it had grown roughly just over 2%. So in a week in the investing world, that is phenomenal. But you've got to remember we're in sort of strange times at the moment with current world affairs. The markets will be up and down. Now, I'm not into scaremongering of, oh my God, it's collapsing, I'll sell it. I'm not looking to do anything with this for at least another 4 years. So I'll let it ride the noise and use what's called a DCA approach. Now, DCA is exactly what you're seeing under here. This is me adding money into this all the time. So not only am I putting money into it, it's growing itself. Now, this morning, dropped another 850 quid into it. Why? Because I can. Okay? And likewise across what's going on. Now, at the moment, I'm just putting a set amount into the pension. The standard, I'm leaving it alone, and I'm putting 25 quid sort of a month into the extra account, which is kind of like a treat account. And the ISA is what I'm concentrating on because it's tax-free. So I'm looking to take advantage of the tax-free holdings. So if I just put this to one side and we start going through the portfolio, there is the portfolio as it stands now. So it's actually jumped up a hell of a lot. Yes, I did put money into this, but it's 197.37. Now I can live with that. So let's have a quick look at this. So I'll quickly update the ISA section. So the investments are, well, they're the holdings. So we want the overview, which is here. So the ISA is holding 54,198.10. That's pretty darn good. The standard, it has increased, which is the quick fund, because it was 19,525. Now, I haven't put any extra money into that, but it has moved up. So the actual fund is doing very, very well. 34. And even the treat, which we started with just a basic dumper in, and I'm doing that just to show you that small amounts can grow up a little bit. Oh, shit. Put that in the wrong place, didn't I? The pension's 116,416.33. And then the treat is 385.89. Okay. So, I've dropped an almighty cock on this somewhere. Right, there we go. Being quick because I was thinking, holy shit, that's gone a little bit tits up. But it's because I put an extra dot in there. There we go. I almost panicked and sold everything, boys and girls. But that wouldn't have been the right thing to do. What it's actually showing is, target-wise, the pension's nearly already there. It's only got 4% to go. Everything is going to plan. Now, what it's shown me at this point is that the change, it's gone up by 2,583 over the last week or so. Now, I haven't put that much money into it. Not really. I have put money in, but it's only 800 quid because, as you can see, the check was on the 18th. The only extra money going in is here. So it's actually made on its own a good sort of 1,700 quid, give or take. You know, I'm more than happy with that. I am more than happy with that. So what I will do now, just so that you can kind of see it. So that is 1.4, which equated to 2583.80. Okay, and then the balance that I'll be working to next week is this one. Okay, so that goes to 0, and we'll just put today's date in so we can see it. Right, so there we are. Increased 2.5 grand, 1.4 growth in the last 7 days, over 190,000. To me, that is phenomenal. Right? Why is that? Because I was looking at the beginning of this month for the entire year to be over 200,000, because we started at 170,000. So this has jumped up massively. And the way that I worked it out was very simple. I thought, well, 30 grand onto the 170 is a good growth input into the fund over the year. And look how well it's done in, well, 24 days. Outstanding. But it's not something to get excited about, because it could easily drop back. Now, this could drop 20, 25% over the course of the 6 months, then recover and come back. So I'm not going to sing about it too much just yet. Now, I said about accumulation and various other bits and pieces that you can do. Now, if we looked at this and we look at sort of the investments over the course of the last year. Now, over the course of the last rolling year, I've personally put into this nearly £51,500. Now, I put it in because it's tax efficient, and I used the pots because of that efficiency. Now, the investments themselves have returned to me 36,342. But this is where I want to sort of discuss about accumulation funds. And it's easier if I actually show you the funds. So give me a second and I will just log on to what these lot offer. So if you go on to, say, their list of funds, you've got to figure out which one that you like. And a lot of the time it can be quite daunting. You can go, oh my God, look at that. What does this actually mean? Risk factor, what's that? Well, the higher the number, the more risky it is. The lower the number, the safer it is. And the difference between them is if it's risky, you'll get a high return, but you could also have a high loss, something you don't want. Now, if it's actively managed, that's a problem as well, because it's very rarely that you'll have an active manager outperform the index fund. So there's simple hacks you can do. So first of all, you've got 94 funds. Right. Active index. Well, as we said, active doesn't perform that well overall. So just have it as an index. It will follow the money. But then you've got accumulation, income distribution. Okay. Now the difference between them is, because as I was saying with mine, I don't want to take the money out, not for at least 4 or 5 years. I just want to put the profits back in. So that 30 odd grand, instead of me taking it out, I'll put it back into the funds and it'll work for itself. So it becomes passive income. And the easiest way to do that is just click that. It starts dropping the funds down. You're down to 81. But then you can start going, well, that's still 81 funds to pick from. Which ETF, which fund do I pick? Well, the next part is you can look at the past performances. Now you can take an average over the last 5 years and work out which one's best for that. This is something that I do quite regular. And there it is there. Now currently, the best performing fund is the North American ETF at 18.4% average over a 3-year period. So that's good. But is there a stumbling block? Well, there is. It's the cost per unit. You mightn't be afford 124 per unit. So therefore, you've got to go a little bit down the trough. Well, the cheapest one is £5.2. Okay. So you can sit and work that out. So you can go down looking at how much things costs per unit. So there's a one there. There's an emerging market. Only costs you £6. Okay. What does it return? Well, over the last 3 years, it's returned on average 13.2% per year. That's not bad. Live with that, and it's cheap. So what else can you do? Now, you can look at this from a point of view of risk factor as well. So you know it's an index. You know your accumulation. You're going to put the money back in. What's your appetite for risk? Well, let's ask somebody who has a huge appetite for risk. What's your appetite for risk?
Me?
If you said 1 to 7, where would you be on risking something?
Oh, I don't like risk.
So where would that be? 1.
Well, maybe it's 2.
2.
In a push.
At a push. Well, you married me. That was a risk. Or was it a safe bet?
I don't know actually.
Well, you got your tits out, so it was a safe bet. I was going to like it. Right. Okay. Sorry about that. You can watch all the other investing channels where you don't get any of this on it. Go watch the other channel. You'll see some adventures on that one. Never mind. Anyway, a good risk factor is somewhere around this area. That's kind of safe, steady Eddie money. Okay. So 4, 5 at a push. I'm roughly about 5. To be honest, she would be 3 or 4. But we're down to 56 funds. Okay. What else can you do? Well, you can decide what factor you want to be in. Do you want to be localized? So all of your money is in your local sort of economy. So if you live in England, say the FTSE, UK. If you're in America, you just want the American economy. Or you can look at global. Now, global is an ideal way to go. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, and whatever decision you make it on your own. But one of the reasons why global is a very good way to go is simple. It takes into account everything. Now, I use global funds, and it's one of the reasons why everything's pretty good. Now, I do have cheap, that's what the small is, but it's still got a big exposure to a massive amount of companies. But the bulk of the money is in a global. So if you click global, just like so, you're now down to 34 funds. Now these you can sit and you can work out. Now the life strategy ones, they're what Vanguard put together themselves, and they make a package up, and it's basically a split sort of 20% equities, etc. And what you do is you can work all of that off and just come all the way down. Then you've got a pile of retirement funds. What they do is they start pretty high and they degrade as you come further in. Then you come down to where the nitty gritties are, which is this lot. Okay. Now, most of these are sort of like level 4s and one thing or another. So if you're looking over a long period of time, you can be a bit risky because you've got time to put it right. And that's kind of where I sit. So when I sit like that, my fund choice is actually only 8. That is there, 8. Okay. Now, obviously, we're not going to look at them because they've only just started. They've got no history, so I'm not really interested in them. Did okay. And what I'm looking for when going through all of these different bits and pieces is what's called steady Eddie. Something that consistently performs year in, year out. And when I worked it all out, when it came through costs and various other bits and pieces, the fund of choice was that one. So I drilled it all down, and that one became my fund of choice. Now, how you do it is up to you, but that's roughly a way that I picked it. Now, why did I pick this? Well, there's a number of reasons why I picked it. Its ongoing charge is relatively cheap, 0.23, live with that. It is on the higher side of the unit price at 272 at this moment in time, but I put enough in to cover that, so that doesn't really worry me too much. The bit that attracted me to it more than anything was this. It's got 7,478 stocks in it. So it'll smooth out any sort of rough patches. So if one part of the world isn't doing so well, another part will pick it up. And then together, there'll be a steady Eddie way of looking at the market. And that's it. It's as simple as that. So you can get yourself all wound up. Oh, which is it this fund? Is it that fund? Just look at affordability and whether it has consistently performed over the last 3 to 5 years. And if it has, drip feed money into it, and then you'll find that the money starts looking after itself. A good example of that is the Treat Fund, because keep an eye on that fund as we go through this journey week on week. Now, some weeks it'll be down, some weeks it'll be up, but it'll show you what just starting. I only put like sort of 360 quid in to start, and then I'll feed it 25 quid a month through a direct debit and not add anything else to it, just so you can see the power of its own compounding. Well, it's already up considerable. Now think about it for 5 years' time. That's going to be a lovely luxury holiday. Be a great luxury holiday for my 60th birthday, which is when I'll start changing this fund round slightly from high risk into a medium risk, and then over the course of the next 5 years it'll start drip feeding down more into a bond structure, so that when I hit 65 and I start looking at this thing, or it'll be steady Eddie, and then the growth, it'll look after my grandkids, which is what parts of this is all about, and it'll give Joanne and I a little bit extra to what we already have. So there you go, guys. Investing is very simple. It's not like trading or anything like that. It's more about patience than trying to time a market. I don't try and time it. I just look at what I think is acceptable, and then I'll pay into it because I see value in it. And the growth you will see week in, week out to see whether I'm right, wrong, or indifferent. So as always, guys, hope you do well, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.